Thank you again, and have a couple quick announcements, cycling related, of course. So I have my online bike maintenance webinar, though you'll learn how to change your tires, repair broken chains, adjust your brakes, and learn how to use all the tools that are in your bike bag that you should be carrying with you. Go to bmcwebinar.com. The next one is my 4-hour cycling skills intensive course. Now, this is where you're going to get all the cycling skills you need to take your experience to the next level, whether it's on the road or online. You're going to learn proper bike pedal form that's going to help you with your efficiency. You're going to learn how to climb hills, all the skills, tips, and tricks, and speed and power. Not to mention, we're going to finish off with nutrition that ties everything together. So go to cyclingskillspro.com and you can find all those information on my courses, webinars, and downloads there. Take care and have an amazing day. And remember, you're only one pedal stroke away from cycling like a pro.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Secrets from the Saddle podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow. And today we have an amazing woman back on the podcast, Michelle Bentley. What we're doing with her is a recap of everything that she's been up to from like 2 years ago when I first interviewed her. So just a little update. First of all, you really should go to the podcast. It's one of my first ones that one of the first episodes that I published or I got out on air. And she's just talking about her transformation when she changed up her nutrition for her training. But now we're going to basically step back. And I know Michelle, she's married to good friend Stephen Bentley, which has been on the podcast as well. And you should listen to his episodes. And they're in sunny Texas. I don't know if it's sunny there right now, but it's definitely warmer than Canada. This is not Canada. I should have like a winter scene instead. And we've known each other for a long time. We're also both on Team Isogenics, using those amazing products. And she's just an amazing woman. And she is a busy lady. She's got 2 daughters in the teenage years. Baba's got kids in the teenage years. You know, maybe we should touch base on them and how you're maneuvering through that. And she is the most dedicated person I know to performance training. I'm really excited to have her here to just go back and talk, just like to talk about training and where she left off. She encountered some injuries where that put her mentally, and then how she's transitioning to another sport, which I'm kind of excited about. Welcome, Michelle. I'm so excited to have you here. Like I said, you look fabulous.
Oh, you too, Sylvie.
Thanks. So let's go back. Like we were just talking about like how far back it was. And at the time when we did our first interview, she had just switched up a lot of her nutrition and she was training hard for this one particular Ironman, Florida. And I'm going to let you take it away because we all watched her training. And then we literally all watched her racing because Steve was like following her around on the course. And then something happened. So let's just talk about that moment or leading up to there.
Yeah, so I had to think back because it's been so long ago.
Remember that race?
But I remember it very well, yes.
Yeah.
And I did, and that, tell you, so going into that race, I was at that point in my life the fittest and most prepared I had been for any Ironman event. And I was having a really fantastic race up until the point that I suddenly wasn't. And as far as like my fitness level and how my nutrition and fueling were going, it was great. I had great energy. And I suddenly there's these speed bump things on the road on part of the Ironman Florida course. And I just came off one strange, and I have a degenerative discs, several in my lower lumbar, from old firefighting injury way back. And so when I did that, it just slipped one of those discs out, and it was just instant, pain. So I tried for a bit to kind of hobble walk, but it was too much. I just couldn't take it, and it got to where I couldn't take a step. So I had to pull out. And
oh my God, how far were you from the finish?
Oh, it was close. I was already past the halfway point of the run too.
Oh.
I was like at mile 15 whenever I had to stop. So
as you start crawling.
That's a long crawl.
Yeah, really, I know.
That's a long crawl. I hobbled for 2 miles, so I got injured right after the turnaround at just past 13 miles, and then I tried hobbling for 2, and it was pretty bad. So
So what was going through your mind at that time? Like, seriously, all that training? I know, all that training just for that one day, right?
Right. So if you've done Ironman long enough, maybe that won't be your experience, but you're likely, it's such a long race, and it takes so much training to even get to the point where you can race that type of event, that it's likely to happen to you. And what Ironman training has really taught me, and also just how to deal with things in life in general, is resilience. So I was, of course, very disappointed, and emotionally, that's a hard hit, because you've got all these endorphins and things going into the race, and then suddenly realizing that so much I put in, and I'm not going to be able to complete what I started. Definitely was a bummer, but I've learned just through past racing, even shorter distance races.
Yeah.
Injuries happen, setbacks happen, life happens, and if you're going to succeed at anything in life, you've got to learn to be resilient, and you've got to just not have quit in you. So I knew I was going to be okay and race again. It was definitely a little bummer for a day, but I think, we took advantage and just enjoyed the rest of our trip in sunny Florida. So it was
a bummer until you had a beer and a burger and fries. You're like,
that's right. We actually went straight over to have some pizza and treat. So food works for me,
Yeah, I know. It's it cures all. So how did you feel after that? Were you going to that's it, I've got to go back and conquer that event? How am I going to switch up my training? What was I know after the burger, you're like, okay,
right.
Good.
Right. So, no, I don't even think it was a few days before I'd already picked out my next race to focus on, and I signed up. So I knew I was had to take a little time to heal and do some good strengthening and rehab for that back. And which in part was my fault, because when you get into Ironman training, you've got so many workouts you're trying to fit in, that you start to say, I don't need that functional strength training so much. I don't really focus on the flexibility. I don't have time. And really, that's what got me into trouble with most of the injuries I've had during my racing career. It's because I've neglected to do the functional strength and stretching. So,
okay, everybody, take note.
Don't
Michelle,
skip those.
Don't skip the training, the strength training, and the did you get into yoga, or did you just stretch?
I started yoga just now, and I've been very grudgingly moving into yoga, but
I kind of like that too.
I've already noticed differences, so I've got to say it's already improved a lot. My flexibility in my shoulders and my back.
Oh gosh, totally, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't I put my arm over my shoulder?
I can get my arms by my ears, and I thought, okay, this is not good. So.
Yeah, you gotta think how young you are too, right? You don't want to be breaking down before you hit 50 like me. So now you've just, okay, so then you got back on it, nothing, you didn't let it get to you, because I know some people just beat themselves up ridiculously after things like that. And I'm just like, it's just a race. Like
Exactly.
there's so many of them. Like just pick another one, give yourself enough time. So what did you jump into next? What was the next one on your agenda?
So I actually went right back. We have a half Ironman event in Galveston, Texas. That
Okay, half
Ironman
iron.
Texas, the 70.3,
Yeah.
which is in the early spring. And so I signed right up for that to just jump back into racing, and kind of spent those winter months after Florida working mostly on just the rehab in the back and getting my core nice and strong. And then did a real quick training build to get ready to race at Galveston, and had a really great race. Went
Half
under.
Ironmans are, I would imagine, a really good distance.
I love that. That's my favorite distance actually to race.
Why do a full Ironman?
Halves are fun. Halves are fun. But
Not as
it was
taxing.
great. I had a great race. Came under PR'd and came in at like 450, 451 or something. So went under 5 hours, and
Wow.
it was fun. It was good.
How fast was your bike?
Gosh, I think I did a two. I gotta look back now. I can't remember, but it was
Must have
right
been
around
fast.
230. It's a flat course, but it's a super windy. You're right on the seawall, and you always have super strong wind coming on your way back. It's an out and back along the seawall. So it's flat and pretty fast, but you got a battle wind along the ways back. So it kind of evens out your speed, but a good bike. I did 227 or right under 230 was my bike split, I think.
Jeez, you have to do pretty fast to finish that under 6 for the whole thing. Wow. Now did that make you feel better? Kind of reset the confidence to go forward to the next one?
Yeah, it always does. Going to a race, it kind of feeds that competitive spirit, fuels that little fire. So I was pretty excited about the season.
Yeah. Now, next one. Okay, so you decided to go back to Ironman Florida and like just kick it in the butt, right?
I actually didn't.
Didn't?
I actually picked Boulder, Ironman Boulder.
Oh, okay.
And that
Instead.
race was in June. So
like last year or the year before? Oh no, couldn't have been last year.
Yeah, it was
Must
2019.
Have been, right.
2019. And so that was my kind of focus, was training for Boulder, which is a challenge because, I'm coming from sea level to go race up in, the Rocky Mountains, and
right.
And we don't have any significant hills close to where I live. So a lot of my mimicking hill rides had to be done on my CompuTrainer, and I use power cranks, which makes it an extra challenge.
I don't know how you do those.
Starting out is hard, but it's an amazing tool to use to balance out your, any muscle imbalances. I have such a good even pedal stroke. My legs, I'm training on that trainer, they're independent of each other. So I have to.
I know.
It's hard.
I think that's why I like the rollers. Because it's kind of like the same, like you have to pedal smoothly to stay on them, and you have to be consistent, and there's no braking, and there's really, you can't lose focus either. I'm just fine, just looking forward, else you're gonna fall off. So you went to Boulder.
Accident waiting to happen.
Well, I've been doing them for 10 years, so
that's awesome.
On and off, and so I can actually sit up without putting my hands on there. Yeah, so that just happened this season. That was a big milestone for me. But so you went and so was Boulder your last?
No, because I had my own fun story at Boulder.
Okay, let's hear it.
There's always this is why I say resilience is important, because eventually, you stick with something. Eventually you're going to get it right. Right before Boulder, I got an ingrown toenail, and really bad.
I saw that.
They had to go and cut it out. I had stitch, like literally still a wound and stitches in my toe as I'm going into the race. But I was going to race, so I did. And I had my toe all wrapped up really good for the swim and got through, and then shoved my foot into the bike shoe, which was not very pleasant. But got through the bike, and then started off with a really great run, same thing, like mile 15. So it's like flashback to Florida.
Oh no.
My toe was done. Like it was so much pain. Every time that foot would hit the ground, I would just get nauseated and like throw up from the pain. So I didn't stop. I kept going, but I walked for 10, 11 miles. I walked. So I ended up finishing in 12 hours, which was my longest race. But had I run the whole thing, that probably would have been my PR Ironman at that time.
Oh, really?
I crossed, I finished, but boy, that was probably the most painful race, even more than the back, because it just was going on and on because my toe
like,
was
boom. Oh,
it hurt so bad.
But, wow. I remember seeing that in the, like this big wrapped up toe, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's where Florida came back. I said, okay, I've got all this fitness. My toe will be better. That race was still open. So I immediately signed up for Florida. So I had a couple of months to kind of do a quick recover and build to get back ready. And so I went back and tackled Florida again in 2019.
And yeah,
it was a great race.
Oh, good.
PR.
Love
race.
that.
Yeah.
PR'd. Excellent.
I
so
like 45, almost an hour. Yeah, like almost an hour PR. Yeah, it was good.
Wow. So you must be like
on a podium.
You did?
I did. I came in 4th place and got on the podium and had a great bike split. I think I did 5:09 or something on the bike, and it was windy. A cold front blew in, so it was like pretty intense winds. But so I was really happy. So that was my last Ironman event I've done, and so I think that was a good way to.
Yeah, really, because basically everybody didn't get anything done last summer unless it was virtual.
Was a bummer.
I know lots of people trying to figure it out. It was just incredible. I was on, some women's pages on Facebook, and we're just, just listening to, oh my God, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I know that you've got it all figured out at home, like with that swim machine.
Yeah. Awesome. The Vasa trainer.
Yeah. So here's like, Michelle is like a busy mom, not to mention like she works for the fire department for Houston, and there's no time to hit a pool.
No.
Ever. I don't think you've ever been in a pool besides racing.
My gosh, I haven't.
That's so crazy. Do you feel that's probably why your hair looks so nice?
That's right. That's why my hair's so healthy now.
Oh my gosh, is it ever long? Wow. So, all right. So now you're transitioning. I think you've had a good year to think about, where you want to go from here with that, because what I see is that people just continue doing these races,
right,
over and over. And it's just like what to do next year. So have you changed it up for yourself? Like, because I've seen you out there mountain biking, and I haven't seen you on a gravel bike, but this is
not
kind
a gravel bike yet. It's coming.
I know, everybody's bike is coming. It's on the ship coming over from
that's right.
So tell me about this shift in because I love it, because there's so much more out there than the swim, bike, run, right?
There is. And I love triathlon. That was my first, love, and really what kind of got me into the whole fitness world. But 2020, it was actually a good thing, because I've been thinking about it, toying with it for a while. But when you've done something for so long, it's kind of like this scary thing that you're letting go of something that's been such a big part of your life. So I understand kind of what athletes' mindsets are. But when my races all got canceled because of this COVID, I said, okay, well, this is actually not a horrible thing for me because it makes it easier for me to like take a breath, refocus, and figure out, what's some stuff that I want to try. And
Yeah.
I was talking to, my husband, and I said, this is actually, I'm excited about this change because I've had so much of my focus has always been on training for this next big event.
Mm-hmm.
And like we'd go on vacations and I'd be hesitant to do things that I really wanted to do because I was scared I might get injured or I had to go out and get a workout in, to stay on my training program. So not having to worry about that this last year and just being able to go and try new things. Like I've fallen in love with mountain biking. So much fun, so challenging, terrifying to me in a way. I'm such a klutz. And so hence why I think I'm going for the gravel racing versus mountain bike racing, because at least it's a little less technical and I'd be less likely to eat it.
Yeah. Well, mountain biking gives you a great background for cycling skills. So if you can stick with it, like I'm sure you figured that out, like just the quick gear changing, the quick maneuvering, hill climbing. I'm sure those fast twitch muscles have really been getting a workout after so much tempo riding.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because like it's kind of, you've just been slow twitch tempo for so long. And then this is such a faster, like an explosive new, way of riding. Even with gravel riding, like think about all the sprinting it depends. Like if you really get into gravel, but mountain biking, it's those short bursts, like to get up the hills and things like that. How have you felt that way?
I've absolutely felt, and I was shocked, like getting out on our first real, because we have some little trails around here, but when we went out and did real mountain biking this summer in Utah and Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I felt like I had zero fitness, had the altitude in, climbing, and the trails just immediately start out. They don't give you a good warm up at all. You just jump straight into this climb. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, but it's so much, so fun. Like, cause it's such a new challenge for me. I'm used to being out on a bike and it's like, it's easy for me and I can go out and, pass people on a road. Woo. But now having to learn how to navigate all these obstacles and rocks and roots. And, sand and body weight shifting and navigating my fear of heights while I'm riding on a little ridge line. It's exhilarating.
I've seen those.
We went across a ridge and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so so scared. Keep your core tight and don't
look down.
Right. Just focus on a point right in front. Oh my gosh. But it was really fun.
I think those ones, like when I see them on YouTube, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to throw up, but I know like for experience, because I started out mountain biking before I road cycled, and you just don't think about it when you're there, and if you actually hesitate and start thinking about it, that's when the fear sets in.
Yes.
And it's pretty powerful. It's like stop you in your tracks, or just like, just breathe. I'm going to get through this. It's okay.
Yes.
Like there's no turning back because, like there's no choice. You got to go forward. So you might as well just breathe and keep going. That's right. Because everybody's behind you. You're like,
yeah.
So have you got yourself into like a mountain bike camp or anything to?
No, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and practiced, silly, like it's so funny. I've got all these videos. I'm out. My neighbors thinks I'm nuts because I was out just trying to learn how to do like a manual or ride a wheelie or do little bunny hops to clear an obstacle. So I'm out in the street, with my pads on because yes, I fall. And, and so just doing that, but it's funny. It was fun. And it was just getting me comfortable with my bike and
Yeah.
and learning some of those skills for the trail. So one day I will go to a camp though and get some real skill work.
Oh yeah, it's so worth it. And find a women's camp.
Definitely.
I'm
Definitely.
sure there must be many, or you can find something really close to you. Like, well, how far are you
Within a
from
few hours.
Colorado?
And I am about
13
16
hours.
hours from Colorado, so it's a little
Oh,
bit of a trip, but I
yeah,
could probably find something around a couple of hours from here around the
yeah,
Austin. So,
because it's worth it. And
yeah,
what I can tell you is that when you fall, don't take your hands off your handlebars. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that yet.
I learned
Oh, good.
crashing.
Yeah,
Oh
because you
gosh.
don't want to break your shoulder, your elbow, or your wrist. That's why I tell my girls when we road bike, it's like if you're gonna fall, just hold on to your bars for dear life and fall. And it'll like you'll take it on your shoulder, your elbow, your hip, but don't ever put your hand down.
No,
Because you don't
that's
want to
not
like,
good news.
yeah.
Yeah, I've done crashed before and separated both these shoulders. So yeah,
Really?
just on the road. Yeah,
Oh, and oh my God.
yeah.
Can't imagine both of them. Both of your
Good.
shoulder blade, like your no, not clavicle.
Yes, yeah, it's great. I've got the nice little, you can see my kind of
Oh
bumps
yeah.
here pretty pronounced because I had a pretty high level separation. I didn't want to go with the surgery, so I just kind of have been doing, that's another reason I got to work on that shoulder flexibility because that kind of pulls me in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So now you're taking a full swing to the mountain bike side. Is there events happening? Is there anything
I
around
have
you?
not, I have not even looked yet. Like, it's weird because I always have some kind of event that I'm training for and working towards. So I see that coming in the future, but I haven't even looked to the point because I want to get like really good with my base skills first before
Mhm.
I just jump into racing again. Um,
Like that.
and this is all new for me, like a brand new, it really is a new sport. I'm great on a, tri bike and a road bike. It's different though than this. So
Mm.
trying to kind of learn those basic skills. I'm also just kind of taking this mental break from the race mode
Well, that's what I
and
was
just
going to
enjoying
ask
all the.
you. Yeah. How are you like maneuvering through that? Like, because a lot of people are just really stuck and like needing to have that event, what have you done mentally, like to kind of ease yourself of the need to compete, like
Yeah,
always having that next event, like oh my gosh, like how does it feel not having that?
it's been a transition because I was like that, very much so. But in
Yeah.
some ways, that always kind of creates this almost like an anxiety, and the need to have that. I have a real competitive nature.
Mm.
And so not being able to have that outlet this year has been it's been a bit of a road actually, but it was really just I had to sit and shift my perspective. And like I said, I've thought, you know what, since I can't race, let me just take this time to look at trying different things.
Mhm.
Also take the time to address areas that I need to. Like I said, I started yoga because that really is a something I've neglected over all these years.
Right.
It's good for my overall just health and giving me the ability to continue to race in the future at some point as
Uh-huh.
I'm getting older and not be injured because I don't really enjoy the injury part of competition.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of shifting my mindset and my focus. And I've enjoyed it. It's taken kind of a pressure off of me, and
Yeah.
then just learning to enjoy the process of starting over and learning something new, building new skills, and using that competition, kind of focusing that energy into learning this new skill and really being focused on learning these new activities. And the other thing is just enjoying things with Steve, like Steve and I together, my husband. This summer, another thing that we have planned is we're going to go on something I've always wanted to do. I've wanted to do like a backpacking trip. And
where are you going to go?
Backpacking. We're going back to Colorado, and we're going to do a like 3-day backpacking trip out into the Weminuche wilderness, and we're going to climb a couple of 14,000 foot mountain peaks. So we're going to start training for that this month, to just start getting us prepared, again, because we're going to be coming from sea level. So really building our VO2 max, and while we're out there, we're going to do a lot of mountain biking and stuff too. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to.
Oh, that's super amazing. You sound like you're making it so serious. Okay, we got to create our VO2 max.
That's right. We are. We got to.
You just have to be able to carry a 60-pound pack up that hill.
And be able to carry it back. So we want to be able to go out there and enjoy it, be fit enough that we actually enjoy it, to where we're not like, oh my gosh, what are we doing?
What are you guys? You guys are so fit anyways. You'll be fine. But here's the thing, like, have you, because I know, because a lot of people kind of, I think competition was just a huge part of their not personality. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was just ingrained, like, when somebody asks you, so when's your next race?
Right.
And you're like,
right.
I don't have one. You're like, what?
I know.
You don't have anything big on the horizon? Like, what's wrong? It's it's a big part of their life, I guess. Like, that's just what they do. They just train and race and live. And now, like, everybody has to really take a step back and take a good look at, like you. What else would I like to do? What else have I really want to do that I haven't been able to, because I've had to put in 20 hours a freaking week on the, like, training.
Right.
And what about all this extra free time you have now? What have you been doing with that?
I don't have a lot of extra free time, because unfortunately work and kids, two teenage daughters, take up a lot of any free time I would have. But those other pockets of time I've had, I've just had fun. I've really enjoyed not having to wake up at 3:45 in the morning to get my workout in, so that I would stay on my training, block.
Oh my gosh, that must have been amazing. Sleeping in, an extra 3 hours. Now I can stay up and watch Netflix.
Right, watch Netflix. Yeah, so it's good.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. And so speaking of, and you kind of wonder, how the hell did I do it all before, right?
Like, now I'm like, oh my gosh.
Go out and like spend 4 hours on my bike anymore. I don't have any time. So how are the girls loving you being home?
Oh, well,
or having more time?
I'm not sure that they
recognize you're being home.
At this point, I think it's all about their friends. But it's so funny, because we took them away over Christmas, because it's been a weird year for holidays. You can't do big gatherings or anything. So we took them out to like this hill country in Texas. And where we stayed, it's this like little town. There was not even cell service. So no cell service, no Wi-Fi. They were on complete meltdown mode. Like, Mom, there's no Wi-Fi here.
Yeah.
They had to sit and play games with us, and we took them out hiking, and we had
awesome
a DVD player and watched a movie on the little DVD player. No Netflix. So, but it was great, because, it's kind of forced them to sit and bond with the old people. And it's been a good time, because when they get back to their regular schedule, they're so involved in school and sports and everything.
So everything's pretty the same for you down in Texas right now?
Here it is, it's not the same, but but
Yeah.
they are like in school.
Hmm.
When there's any issues, they switch to virtual for that time,
Right.
but they're actually still have sports at school. They just have to wear the masks, during
Hmm.
parts of the competition. And
Yeah.
so it's different, but they're still pretty much not a huge interruption here, at least not in Texas.
I kind of wish it was like that here, but you know, it's funny like you're talking about going away. We did a couple away times, and even if I can get away, it's just nice to not have to be attached to social media. Would you
It is
agree?
a great, it's so good. Like it really for kid, I say it for my kids all the time. Like I've cut down on the amount of time they can even spend. It just kind of blocks it out. I've got it set up where it shuts them down. But even for
Oh,
adults, like, and during this pandemic, that's one thing I think probably a reason a lot of people are suffering that anxiety and really feel that they need a competition or something to get out, is because we're kind of, without being able to go and have the interaction, we've been driven to be on social media, which is different than
yeah.
in-person interaction. And just for
I,
mental health, that's stressful over
yes,
time.
I know. I've been like, I'd loved it's just like you've had to be on it like 10 times more,
Right.
especially when you run an online business, and
Yeah.
now there's just so much more noise out there, and you're trying to build your business. It's just more like, I know that you guys have a network marketing business just like I do, because we do the
Right.
same thing. And it's honestly, it's sometimes I just wish I could do something else. But did you take up I just want to ask you, did you take up any hobbies that you're
Um,
kind of like put on the back burner and you're like, I just never had time for this?
Well, funny stuff, like, and it's kind of like tied into the trip, but something I've always wanted to do was like learn how to do the orienteering and because
Cool.
adventure racing is exciting. Sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I've
yeah,
done a little
yeah.
bit of it, but I never knew the orienteering part. So I actually bought a book and a really, high level compass, and I've been learning how to do the
Take
backcountry
it when you
navigation.
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we go backpacking, I'm going to be our navigator and
We just gonna stay on this path to the top of the hill, and then we're gonna
to get to the top. Actually, part of both of our climbs, they're off trail. Like you actually have to, you have to,
Oh
it's
my
not
gosh.
a hard trail. So we'll actually have to do some navigation and for the
But
actual ascent.
it is pretty fun. I can say that like being like doing a lot of not orienteering, adventure racing. I was never the orienteer of
Right.
the group, but my husband did a lot of Rogaines. So
Oh,
check into
neat.
that, Rogaines, and it's all with map and compass.
Oh,
And
wow.
those
Cool.
are racing events, and they're running events in the woods, and you have to find checkpoints. So you have to be
Mm-hmm.
very good at like um, reading the contours, because it's a lot of like just contour reading, and your map and your compass and how fast you can go. It's pretty fun. I can tell you that I've been on the team with him. I have not been the map. I just follow. Just tell me where to go. And John
Uh,
will find it. But little orienteering events. I don't know if there's a club near you, but getting involved, like usually they have weekend like events, and you can do short to very long distance, and where you have a map, and those are pretty fun. That'll give you that some of that background where you
yeah.
have to like find things like, and you
Yeah.
punch and things. So but I'm so excited that you found different things, and I'm really excited that you're talking about mountain biking, because maybe one day we'll be able to go down there and do
Oh,
some
yeah.
mountain biking, or maybe gravel event, because those are just picking up everywhere, like here in
I know.
Canada. um, but So are your girls getting into gravel with you or getting on the bike?
My girls are, I don't think they want to admit that they're interested in anything that I say I'm interested in, but they're
Oh,
starting to do. My youngest one has actually, and I was shocked because she started cross country racing this year. And
cool.
so she's even reached out. She's let me and Steve both give her some training tips, and it was fun going out and chasing her around doing some of her events this year. So that's pretty cool. And then my oldest daughter is doing basketball. She's tall. She's like almost as tall as I am, and she's 15, and
Wow.
she's really enjoying that. So they're staying active, which I like to see.
So it must be nice to be able to now participate in and be around to, watch them grow up in high school.
It is. And I've appreciated that extra time that they're around. And again, my fire department role is really busy, but fortunately, it's also a lot of stuff I can do remotely and fairly quickly. I can handle. So it still gives me the opportunity to be around them. But I only have probably 4 years left at the max before I can retire full time from that. And
no way.
Then we're relocating. Steve and I are going to move to the Durango area in Colorado. So then you can come there. Y'all can come visit, and we can go mountain biking there all the time.
And
skiing. That's right.
Skiing and mountain biking the same day?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a ski resort right close by.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, we have plans too, so lots of travel. Well, in the we've got our plans for the next 10 years, and then we're like, kids out of the house.
That's right.
Watch out. So, oh my gosh. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour, and this has been absolutely amazing bringing you back here, Michelle, to just recap. And I know we could have probably dove deeper into, just the feelings, but it seems like, you've made a great transition, and it's not always about the race. It's about, and I think, like you said, this year has given us all a great opportunity to slow down and just sort of encompass family for a lot of us, different things. So many people have been getting on bikes this year and sporting into different sports. So it's going to be a very interesting next 3 years to see where people go with that, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. You're either going to stick with it, or it's going to end up on eBay or Kijiji.
That's right. That may be where I'll be looking for my gravel bike. Watching eBay.
That's right. I would keep my eye open for that. So thank you so much again. And we'll be, this episode will be up later on in the winter. And also don't forget, everybody, to please go to the, wherever it is that you listen to your podcast, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. We love comments. If you know of anybody who's doing extraordinary things with bikes, or just an extraordinary athlete like Michelle, that would be great on the podcast, I'd love to know. And make sure the notifications go on, because our podcasts, our episodes go 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And not to mention, all these are live on, the video is on my YouTube channel. So you can physically see us as well as listen to us if you so desire, and to subscribe and put on your notification there. So with that, have an amazing day. Thanks a lot, Michelle. It's been a pleasure having you back on. And don't forget, you're 1 pedal stroke away from cycling like a pro.